Hi, I'm Brian LaRosa, and welcome to part 2 of my DCS mood series. In part 1, I already showed you how to add MTH Protosound 2 or 3 engines onto the DCS system and how to run them in command mode. In part 2, which is this show, I want to show you how to run conventional engines with a DCS remote. Because, as you may or may not know, I love collecting Lionel engines as well as MTH engines. Not with TMCC or Legacy, just classically conventional engines. Now, before I start this tutorial, I've actually watched one of Eric Siegel's videos about how to operate conventional engines. And as you may or may not know, Eric Siegel is a pretty popular guy because his YouTube channel has lots of subscribers. So if you would like to learn more about operating conventional engines, you can click on the link that's popping up on the screen right now. But one of a few things that is different than Eric Siegel's video is whether to run pretty much any Lionel engine, because the DCS system is intended to run conventional AC motored locomotives such as post-war items, but it can also run DC motored locomotives as well. The DC motored locomotives are basically more modern Lionel engines, but my understanding is that there are some limitations when running DC motored engines. Now, in this video, I want to show you 2 engines to run with DCS remote. One will be the AC motored engine, and the other will be the DC motored engine. So let's get started. Before I get to the tutorial in a couple of minutes, I want to show you how the DCS system is wired up when running conventional engines. In part 1, I already show you how it's wired up for command controlled engines. So now before operating conventional engines, the fixed voltage input 1 channel is still required for the TIU to work. Now, as I said in the previous video, the fixed voltage channel is intended to run command controlled engines, whether it's DCS equipped or TMCC or Legacy equipped. And then the variable voltage is intended to run conventional engines, so that's what I'm going to use to run my conventional engines. There are 2 variable channels, both on the input and the output side of TIU. I chose the variable voltage input tube so it's easier for the output wires to reach the TIU. And if you're new to DCS, you can use either variable channel if you're going to run conventional engines. So of course you need the transformer to power it up, and then I use the separately sold wire harnesses. These are made by MTH, and then and these are wired up to the variable voltage input 2 channel. And on the other side of the TIU, the output side, the wire is already fixed onto this section of Lionel Fast Track. And there are several ways of wiring up connecting the wires to the system. As you can see, the Fast Track wire terminals look like hooks, and then I unscrew these these ports to slide the hooks inside. So that's how it's all wired up. I want to point out for a minute about this Lionel transformer. I'm still using this Lionel 80-watt transformer, but before I got into DCS, MTH did not recommend this transformer for several reasons. And I looked up on an online forum owned by the O-Gauge Railroading Magazine company, and I saw a couple folks using this 80-watt transformer to run the TIU. Now, one person had a problem with it and the other person had not. And one person wanted to run the MTH PS2 engines in conventional mode, specifically with the DCS system. And so I've heard that he had a problem with this transformer when he was running the PS2 engines in conventional mode. On the other person, he also used the transformer, but he wants to run these conventionally powered engines, such as the Lionel post-war engines or the more modern ones. So the problem more likely occurs on MTH PS2 engines than on non-command controlled engines. So I want this transformer to run non-command controlled engines, not the MTH engines in conventional mode. I wanted to have all my MTH engines in command mode, and that's why I bought the DCS system. And so far I didn't really have a problem with this transformer, and it's very complicated. That's just my understanding. Now, while I'm at the transformer, I want to show you how I wired it up. On the back of the transformer, you'll see two channels. This one is for the track, and the other channel is for the accessory. Well, I wanted to have use the track terminal, and then I wired up to the TIU. So that, and it's still working properly. So if you're going to run the TIU with this transformer, you don't want to choose the accessory channel. You'll want the track channel. So let's get started with the tutorial. For the first demonstration, I'm going to use my Lionel post-war Jersey Central switcher, which is equipped with the AC motors as found in most post-war engines. Now, I got everything powered up. The track is powered up, and I got the remote powered up as well. So the first thing we need to do is to press this button, TR, for track, and it will allow me to run conventional engines. So I'm going to press this button, and then in this menu you'll see two channels from one TIU. You'll see two options: TIU 1, variable 1, and the other channel is TIU 1, variable 2. Well, in this case, I got the track wired up to variable 2, so I want to choose that. And there's another option of track setup, and then you can name a track after that. I'm not going into this feature. It's more important to use these options to power up the track. So I'm gonna choose this. So I'm gonna choose this option which is variable 2. So for those of you who, as you may or may not know, I use the thumb wheel to select it, and then I press it to select it. So I'm going to choose variable 2. Okay, so I'm now in the operating section with it's measured in volts, and so to power up the locomotive, I'm gonna use the thumb wheel just like on an MTH engine. So let's see it in action. It's just powering up. As soon as I increase the voltage, it'll run. When running the conventional engine, I just want to point out these buttons. Just like on an MTH engine, if the conventional engine is equipped with a whistle or horn, you can press this button, this white button, to activate the whistle or horn. If it also has a bell, there's a yellow button, which is the bell button. So you simply use that button just like on a DCS equipped engine. And if it has direction control, as it should be on nearly all conventional engines, you use the red button, the direction button, to change the direction. And there is one feature I find this very useful. There's a soft key feature that's labeled MTV, and then if I pull this up, you'll see two options: start volts and max volts. The start volts is the function used to initiate the voltage at how much voltage I can add. So let's say if I'm going to start the engine at 12 volts, that means that the engine will start right at 12 volts. So let's see if I can demonstrate it. So I'm going to select 12 volts, and then now let's see if I can throttle up the engine again. So again, I'm going to use the thumb wheel to power it up. So as I roll the thumb wheel, it will start at 12 volts. So let's see it in action. I'm going to press direction button to change the direction. So here it is. That takes care of the Lionel post-war engine. The last thing I want to show you is how to run a DC motored engine. So for the second demonstration, I'm going to use Thomas the Tank Engine, which is of course a modern Lionel engine, and he is equipped with the DC motor. And as I said earlier, my understanding is that there are a few limitations when running a DC motored conventional engine, and I believe it's something got to do with the resistance. So in order for a DC motored engine to work properly, I think you have to have as many cars as possible on the conventional loop of track, and so it gives more resistance to that. So I'm not getting into too much detail about it because I'm not an expert in this kind of thing. So anyway, just like the post-war engine, right now we're at 0 volts. And I'm going to use the thumb wheel to throttle up the engine. And I've initiated the voltage to 12 volts. So if I power up, it'll start at 12 volts. So let's see it in action. However, this engine's also equipped with the whistle. So again, if a conventional engine has a whistle, then you use the white button. So let's see this in action. So it's powering up. So I've got a pretty reasonable speed. I'm up at 17 volts. Well, actually, I'm at 18 volts. Let's demonstrate the whistle. So I'm going to press the white button to play the whistle. So here's the whistle. That about wraps it up for this video. Now, just a quick conclusion is that, like I said, there are some limitations, particularly with the DC motored locomotives. It's just my understanding. If you'd like to discuss some more on my video, just write me a comment. And so there are several things that you can do and cannot do when running conventional engines. So, well, otherwise I didn't really have a lot of problems when running conventional engines. So that's about it. I'm Brian LaRosa, and I'll see you next time.